CMPRadio.net. It's the station.
Got it, Bobby.
What's up, everybody, man? It's your boy, Uncle P. If you would like to be a sponsor of CMPRadio.net, man, hit us up at info, that's INFO, at CMPRadio.net. It's the station.
Cultivating mature positivity. CMPRadio.net.
Everybody, my name is Donna, also known as Donna Janell, CEO and founder of Parenting with a Purpose. Our strive here at the podcast is to reach every home, whether it's single moms, married, single dads, whatever it is, foster parents, whatever, just bringing the ownership and responsibility and nobility back into parenting. Get comfortable with uncomfortable conversations. All parents need some help and guidance, and I'm just here to be a guide. Hey everybody, it is Thursday. You know what time it is. It is Parenting with a Purpose, and I am your host, Donna Janell, where we are here to aim, to strive to bring back the beauty, nobility, and responsibility back into parenting. As you know, parenting is not for the weak. There's challenges when it comes to parenting. There's different styles when it comes to parenting. Parenting does not discriminate. I mean, age, gender, race, it doesn't matter what culture you are. Most of the time, most of us as parents, number one goal is for our children to be better than what we are and to succeed. Now, through life tribulations and circumstances, it's sometimes difficult for that to happen. But again, it's not for the weak. It's something that we keep striving for excellence in, striving just to make our children, quote unquote, better than what we were. Whether we liked the way our parents parent us or if we didn't, we always take a little bit of something out of what our parents taught us, and then the do's and the don'ts. And that's how we kind of formulate our own parenting style. Most of us honestly parent out of fear, or parent out of how we were parented, or parent how we seen on television. You know, the Huxtables was the number one show, right? All the black families was looking at the Huxtables. I mean, Cliff was a doctor, and what's her name? She was a lawyer, right? Claire was a lawyer. So we looked at it, the kids were all good. They were going to school, they went to college and everything. They just seemed like they had it all together. Although they had many challenges in that house, and you know, Claire, she was a disciplinarian one right there. She didn't play no jokes or whatever. Cliff was kind of just like, oh, okay, I'm here. But different styles, right? So a lot of us go like that. Or we might even see other things that are not, quote unquote, our culture, like when we see Family Ties, the Different Strokes. Like, matter of fact, a Different Strokes had like all these different type of styles of parenting, because remember, they were foster kids. They were black kids being raised by white people, a white man, a white wealthy man, right? So almost like the story of Annie, right? Andy's being raised by somebody who's wealthy. So we have all these different thoughts about parenting in our head. When we're little, how we thought that our parents should parent us, or the do's and the don'ts and the dislikes and stuff like that. So we formulate all these different opinions in our head. And we're like, oh, so when I become a parent, this is not what I'm going to do, or this is what I'm going to do. right? So then when we get hit being a parent, reality check, everything comes in, it's like, all right, we can't do it this way, we can't do it that way. We got to kind of formulate our own opinions and our own thoughts based on what the world is doing now, what culture has changed, what time has changed, and what the children has changed. Kids have changed. And I know I'm just saying that because I'm older now, but I'm telling you, the kids that are out now, especially these COVID babies, they're different. They built different. They come out talking and walking and everything. They built different, okay? So tonight, we're going to talk about that. We're going to just get into some topics that's been going around lately. Like, one of the main topics I keep hearing about is gentle parenting. Now, if you know you're in a black family, ain't no such thing as gentle parenting. But I want to dig into that a little bit to give the definition of it, and then also how we are sometimes gentle parenting. We just don't use that word, right? So tonight, I'm going to talk about that. Tonight, we got P here. You know, he's going to be on here. You know, he's my debater. He comes with I call him the great debater. So he from an era where, you know.
Beat that ass.
Yeah, where corporal punishment is such a thing. I'm from an area where I don't do corporal punishment. You know, discipline. So we're going to talk about it tonight. Thank you, P, for coming.
You know, it's a pleasure to be here. You know, it's always a pleasure to be sitting next to you, right? You give so much wonderful advice to the parents out there. So, you know, why can't I sit here? I thought you was going to call me a master debater.
Oh,
I'm just glad you didn't.
Oh, master debate. I think you probably kind of did master that. Not yet.
You don't get the play on words there. But,
okay. Well, I'm going to stick it with the great debater, okay?
I'll take that. That. Absolutely. Give me a topic. I will definitely debate it.
Okay. All right. So we're going to start by this. P, do you know what gentle parenting is?
No, I do not.
That was quick, fast, man.
Yeah,
right?
real quick. There is no such thing. If I'm the adult, I can listen to you to a point, right? I know when I was a child, my father really didn't, what he said was how it went, period. There was no I think I should do it like this.
Right.
I was typically wrong, and I was typically directed. When you have children, you have to, like you said, you're the arrow, you're the bow.
Right, so where the bow?
You have to direct where the bow ain't telling you, oh, arrow, shoot me in the sky.
Oh, so you're going to use my little thing.
Absolutely.
Where the bow, the children are arrows.
Okay. So my father was pointing me towards being a priest in the Catholic Church.
Okay.
So I was being raised on that level. I went to Catholic school, K through 8th grade. Mm-hmm. But he died when I was in the 6th grade, going into 7th grade.
Okay.
So that shook me. You feel me? That tore me apart. No, matter of fact, it was 7th grade when he passed away. That shook me. So I went to the street automatically. There was no one there to put the hammer down. Everybody that dealt with me was gentle. My mother was gentle. My grandmother was gentle. My aunts were gentle. My uncle, he couldn't really touch me, so he was also gentle. But I was scared of him just like I was scared of my father. You know what I mean? So when you can't mix both. You just have to for a boy. Now you can be gentle to your girls. Absolutely. I'm gentle to my girls. I'm hard on my son. Because this world will chew him up, spit him out, pick him back up, chew him up again, and spit him out and do that. Will repeat.
So what do you think gentle parenting is? Because you keep saying you can gentle parent the girls, but don't be gentle parent the boys. What do you actually think gentle parenting is?
I think gentle parenting is talking to your children and allowing them to speak how they want to speak and yelling and fussing.
That's the common misconception of it.
So
what is so when we think about all right, so let me ask you a question before we go into the definition of gentle parenting. Right. Because it's not one of those things. I think people think that gentle parenting, the word gentle makes you kind of like a sissy parent, or you just like a weak parent or a punk parent. I'm not a punk. But I don't actually call it gentle parenting. I call it intentional parenting, right? There's a difference.
It's too many.
No, it's not too many words. No.
It's just parenting.
No, it's not. So listen, when your father was alive and he stirred you a certain way and it was bing, bam, boom.
Right.
Did you like it when you were a child?
No.
When did you start to realize that the way that he parents you is the way that parenting needed to go?
When I had my first child.
Until you had your own kids. That's what happened to us all the time.
I was 23 and I realized like her life is in my hands. Where she's going to go in life, the type of person she's going to be is going to be a reflection upon me. So if
Yes.
I don't teach her the proper way to do things, if I don't show her the proper way to talk to other adults, if I don't show the proper way to take a discussion that she doesn't agree with, then people will say, what type of parent did you have? Who is your mother and father?
Like, who raised you?
Who raised you? And it will come, and it will be that way if I do not. So from the rip, I had to tell her mother, I said, listen, you can be nice, you can be mom, you can, but I have to be dad. And there has to be a level of fear that they have for the things that they do wrong. When you're wrong and dad is in the house, you come in the house differently. Like
I
you
agree with
automatically, you know you're wrong. You're like, shit. You come in with your head down, you ain't got nothing to say, hey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you're wrong and mom is in the house and she's your friend, like, hey, you know what I just did? Like literally, I was young in the street. I walked in the house, put the gun on the table, said, Mom, I just da-da-da-da. I would have never said that to my father. I would have never even walked in the house with the gun. It would have never happened. I probably would have never even had a gun.
Right.
But I had one, and I walked in the house, and I talked to my mom. Hey, buddy, what's up, homie? Man, boy, it was crazy. Boy, got the.
But wait, do you think now? Let's go back to that. Do you think that your mom perhaps maybe was that way because she was maybe trying to fill the void of the fact that your father wasn't there?
She was that way because her mother was not a gentle parent. Her mother used to beat her ass. I'm not gonna beat my child like my mother. I wish she would have. I used to tell her that. I said, why you ain't never... Why do you never put that fear of you in me? Because that fear of you had me thinking everybody else is gonna do the same thing.
But see, I think that it just depends on a person, because I think about, being raised the way I was. Now, I feel like my parents did the best that they could with what they had and the times that they had.
Absolutely.
Right? So I'm never going to bash my parents for the way that they parented me. But I will say is that there are some things could have been improved on, right?
Absolutely.
So, I come from an era where kids, don't have nothing to say. You be seen, not heard. You don't question your parents. When they're beating you, you're supposed to take a beating, even though if they're going upside your head, right? It's out of respect.
Yep.
Like they're doing this because they love you,
Absolutely.
and they don't want the streets to have to do this to you,
Absolutely.
right? That's what I grew up on. That's the culture I came from,
right.
Where parents or even the family members, like they were always dictating, telling you what to do, never really recognizing you as a person. For example, if you're in a house with, you go to a family gathering. Family reunion, funeral, no matter what, you at the repast, they always tell you to go get something to drink for them. They always tell you to go get their food.
Right.
Like they never actually looked at you as a person or whatever. They always was like, go do this or go do that, as if you were like
Their slave.
The slave, right?
Are you not their slave?
But no, I'm not nobody's slave.
Are you not getting fed and clothed?
But listen.
Stop. As a child, are you not getting fed, clothed, house, all the fun things you want to do for absolutely free? Don't you wish right now, as an adult, you can go back to being a child and not have to worry about paying bills and being responsible?
Listen.
I'm paying for you to have everything that you right now that you have. This is for the parent that ain't worried about taking their son somewhere to get them a check and different things like that.
This is for the real solid parents who actually
that are working. You get everything you want.
Right,
you got
but that's not all parents.
You got a PS5. You got a. I'm just saying for me. I can only speak for me.
Yeah.
I can't speak for everyone else.
All right. So you said that you got these 5 pillars that's taken care of.
Yep.
And they're your slave now.
Yeah. That's what my dad. That's what my dad said.
No way you going to sit here and tell me that your kids are your slaves.
Yes, you are.
Ain't no way.
Yes, you are.
All right,
and when you get your freedom, you gonna wish you could go back to being a slave again. You gonna wish I was calling you and telling you to get me something to drink. Cause now you out there working hard, boss yelling at you, all up in your face. You mad? You you got a girlfriend or a boyfriend. You mad? You got an attitude? Yeah.
But listen to this. So, all right. So go back to what I was saying about being a slave, even to people who are not necessarily raising you, but just as a child, this is what the family view you as, and pretty much what you can do for them, right?
Right.
And that actually springs back all the way back to real slavery time, though, because they were having kids to help with the farm, the cotton and all that.
What the kids know about slavery?
I'm just saying, when you think about it, well, what you said, slave was fine.
But it's not. I'm saying.
When you think about the mentality of it, like people were having kids to get jobs done.
Absolutely.
Right? And what I'm saying is that back in the day, not so much as now.
I used to. My mom used to call me out of my room. John, come here. Come here. Go downstairs. Give me something to drink. I'd be mad. Oh my God, man, you get on my nerves. Go get her something to drink. She called me again. Here, take my cup. Go get me something to drink. Oh, come on, Mom, you're killing me, man. But I didn't have a problem with that because when I went in the room and said, Mom, can I have $50? She gave it to me.
That's
Dad, can I have $20? He gave it to me, right? So that was a part of being a child, right? I was learning responsibility then. Mm-hmm. When an adult speaks to you, you listen, right? So when we think about being as a child, when I go back to being my dad was an authoritative father. Mm-hmm. He said A got done, A and B got done, just to make him happy. You know what I mean? It wasn't just giving him A. Okay. You know, I had to give him A and B. You feel me?
The complete thing.
Go to school. You better pay attention. You better not give me no troubles. You better bring me in good grades. I had to make sure I had straight A's on my report card. Yeah. But one time I didn't. I changed my report card. Because I did not want to see what he was going to do to me if I ain't have.
So your dad was parenting, like it was a fear tactic.
And it worked. It worked for me. It worked for me to the point where I was scared to do anything wrong.
But it worked for you as long as he was alive, P.
And then there was no one else to put that fear into
but
me.
Here it is. Think about this. He put that fear in you while he was alive. Right. But we want to put stuff in our children so that when we're not around them, they can still carry that on.
Oh, that don't work.
That
don't work. you know that don't work. You know that don't work.
No,
Show me where it works.
No, it does, because here's the thing.
Show me where it works.
So let me ask you. You stopped after he passed away because you had no one else to do it.
Right.
But how old were you?
12.
12, right? Mm-hmm. So you had 12 years of your dad. Mm-hmm. He instilled the fear parenting in you. Right. So when he was around, you was tight. You was right.
I was on point. I wasn't even on point then because he had to beat me a couple times. I was a child.
Right.
I did things.
But then once he passed away, you just went.
I went buck wild, crazy. The door was like that door right there was open. Yard out. I was outside.
Yeah. Right. And that's not see the thing about parenting is we don't want our kids to act a particular way just when we're around. We want it to be instilled in them. We want them to be able to carry that throughout because we're not going to be here forever, always, right?
We're not.
So I'm like, okay, so if I'm not here all the time, what is my child doing when I'm not here? Are they going to remember what I taught them? The thing, not just the fear of something, you're going to do something to me, but the fear of if I don't do this right, this is the repercussions and consequences going to happen, not based on what my parent is going to do to me, but based on how it is going to change my life and mess up my life.
Who's thinking about that as a child?
At 12, 13 years old, yeah, you got to be thinking about
it. That's way too advanced. No, listen, at 12 years old, I was still playing with He-Man. You feel me? Like I was still watching cartoons. I wasn't really living a life to think that I could be where I am right now. Right. Those thoughts did not pop up into my head until I was about 25, 26 years old.
What popped up in your head was the fear, though.
The fear of my father. He wasn't here no more. You already know.
So let me tell y'all what gentle parenting is.
Right, tell me.
Gentle parent is not this old weak, sissified punk parent because I consider myself as an intentional parent, and I am nowhere near timid. I am not weak. I'm very assertive in my parenting, but the way that I parent is definitely different from the way that I grew up. Now, growing up, I had a lot of mishaps and things like that, ended up in the system, and a lot of stuff happened to me. So I'm not saying that everything that my parents did was incorrect, but what I will say is that some of the things that they did do that I grab a hold of, I do with my own children. Like, for example, a little bit better now, but when my kids were younger, go to bed before the lights go out. Like, I remember I lived in the Bennett homes. I was very young. I remember in the Bennett homes, I guess I was like 9 or 10, lived in the Bennett homes. Everybody else was out there. I lived on Valentine Terrace. Everybody was outside. like 7 to 8 o'clock, it's still light out in the summertime. Everybody running around, you hear all this noise or whatever, and we had to be upstairs and around. At the time, I was 1 of 4. We had to be in bed, like not just up, like in the house. We had to be in bed. Right. So when I was younger, I was like, I wonder why we had to be in bed so early. Was it just so my mom could just entertain her friends? Like, y'all go to bed so I can entertain my friends. Because that's what she was doing, to entertain her friends. But as I got older, I realized that nothing good was going out.
Nothing good was going on. My grandma said, ain't nothing good outside but head. What she said? Oh, my fault. I didn't mean to say that. Ain't nothing good outside but the bar closing after 2 o'clock and something else. And she used to say crazy things to me, but she wasn't lying. And I had to experience that. You feel me? And
yeah, I agree. Like, I do now that because I had started, just being really intentional with my kids. Like, they were going to bed at 7:30 though. Like, they were in the house. Because think about this. This is how I looked at the whole situation.
7:30?
Yeah, 7:30.
Damn.
This is how I looked at the whole situation. They were in school for 8 hours a day, right? They were in school learning for 8 hours a day. So think about the whole day. You wake them up about 6 or 7 o'clock, get them to where they need to go. They're at school all day. You're at work all day. You get home, you're preparing dinner, you're cooking dinner, you're sitting down having some family time. And then that's already like 16 hours past, like they've been up, right? Kids need about 8 or more hours of sleep in order to be.
What time is 16 hours? What time you waking your kids up in the morning? 4 o'clock in the morning?
That's what I wake up now.
That's why I wake up. I used to always say, how am I going to wake up? I'm usually asleep by 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm out now.
Right.
But 6, 7 o'clock, no, you out the door at 6:30, 7 o'clock if you're working.
Yeah, you tell me you put them to bed at 7:30. That's only 12 hours.
Yeah, all right, it's about 12 hours. All right, people, math
16 hours.
All right, so they're tired, and you done already did everything with them, and now, because again, my kids didn't watch no TV during the week either. They, no TV.
You were intentional for real.
Yeah, because
you're not a strict parent, but they watching no TV.
It wasn't strict. It was really me being intentional because what was on the TV, it was just too much stuff going on the TV that I didn't need that outside influence of what I was trying to create in my kids.
Right.
So that worked for years, though. My kids never have an issue about going. As a matter of fact, when my oldest daughter went to college, she struggled so bad because she was on the governor board at college.
Right.
She go to bed at 7:30. They got a board at 9. They got a meeting at 9 o'clock.
Absolutely.
She could not stay up for that, even throughout her high school years. When she got to high school, I didn't make her go to bed at 7:30. She just was so accustomed to it, and that she just at 7:30, her body just shut down, tired. But when she got in college, a little bit different. But anyway, what I was saying is that because I was so intentional of what I needed to do with my kids, I've created a schedule where they were able to still grow, still have fun, but not be so much influenced by television in the world. That worked for years, though. It really did. They never complained about it or anything. I don't care how you looking at me, they didn't. Like, they older.
But you had TV coming up to the point where you could look back today and say the type of family that you wish you grew up in, the Cosby Show.
Right, but the stuff that wasn't, the stuff, it's not the same.
It's not
TV is definitely not the same.
Just keep Nick and Night on, or whatever channel that is that shows those old school shows. I'm trying to find them. You feel me? Because I love to watch them. I don't care if they reruns. I don't care if they fuzzy. You feel me? Like
the 227. They watch them now because on them older shows.
Those shows taught us.
They did, yeah.
How to be responsible. You see Theo get in trouble for sneaking out. You mean?
Man, the Huxtables was for real. Claire was no joke. Claire was no joke.
She didn't play no games, and neither did Bill Cosby. He didn't play no games.
Claire Fee was a little bit more lenient.
He was a jokester. Yeah. But he didn't have a problem with laying it in when it came down to it. He
ain't really lay it in though. Like, y'all men act like y'all be laying it in on these kids. Y'all be faking. He don't be. Many times Cliff went into the bedroom and act like, like this is gonna happen. He
ain't gonna beat his daughter. That was only with his
daughter. Let me tell you what my dad did.
That wasn't with Theo. He was on Theo's ass, bro.
Let me tell you what my dad did when I was young. When my dad was in the house real young before all hell broke loose in my life. My mom used to be like, Kurt, go handle them. Go get her. She did this, or go get him. He did that. My dad used to go up in the room. He said, all right, now, you got to scream like you're getting a whooping so that your mom thinks because my mom was a disciplinarian. She was the one. Like,
that's who should be the disciplinarian, right? But the dad should be the authoritarian. Meaning, what I say, you do. You feel me? Your mom gonna come in here and bust your ass. I'm not going to bust your ass. So just do what I'm telling you to do. I'm trying to save you from all that.
Yeah.
But my dad didn't play that either. He was stern, bro. He put his hands. My dad was he was at least 6'6", size 13 shoe, big black Haitian. And he had the deepest accent ever. And if he told me to do it, yes, sir. with no questioning anything. He could have told me to ball myself up into a ball and roll down a hill. I would have did it. You know what I'm saying? But he loved me. He put me in different situations, had me reading the book every day, and had me reading the newspaper when he came home from work, outside playing golf, other kids playing on the basketball court. He got me playing golf and soccer.
But it sounds like he was investing time. He was taking that time with you. So
absolutely.
Even he was being intentional, though.
Yeah.
He was being intentional.
No, he was being a father. That's it.
He was being an intentional father.
He was being a father. He wasn't an intentional. He was being a father. As far as he knew, right? And this is him. If we could dig him up and bring him to life and ask him, were you being an intentional father or a father? He would say, I was just being a father, right? We put all these titles, what are they, verbs in front of father, when a father is everything. Your father is your protector. Your father is your provider. Your father is the person you go to and talk to when you need to. Your father is the person you confide in. Your father is the person you talk to as a son. To not have that father, that's what did me in. You know what I mean? That's what had me going left. If there would have been a man that could have stepped up into the role of my father and said, yo, I'm here for you. If you need to talk to me, I'm here for you. If you need to talk to me about anything, I'm here. If you need some support, I'm here. If you need some direction. If I would have just had that, I would have been fine. But I didn't have that. And I started running the street. I really didn't start getting in trouble until I graduated high school. Literally.
Those things that you
just said. I graduated in June, and I was locked up in January. 6 months.
Wow. Those things that you just said, if I'd have had, that is actually the definition of intentional parent. You can say that's the definition of a father or a male figure in your life or somebody who's been basically intentional, because that's what it is. An intentional parent or a quote unquote gentle parent is a parent who is having a connection, being consistent, being like great communication, like.
I don't like.
All right, here we.
I don't like the verbs in front.
You don't like the verbs in front.
I don't.
Because here's the thing: not everybody parent the same, right? Not all children are the same, and some parents parent out of fear. Some parents parent out of anger. Some parents parent just from the way that they were parent, even though they weren't probably parent good, right? So we bring all that into our parenthood and our children, and it's either we're doing it well or we're doing it completely wrong, right? Because we can see now that there is definitely a question about what is parenting going on, because we can look at our children today.
Because there are no parents, literally. I'm not saying the moms and dads that are out here now that are trying their best aren't good parents, but when we look at majority of the city of Chester, there are no parents in the parent-teacher conference. There are no parents in the high school. There are no parents that allow other people to reprimand their kids. Everybody's so protective over their child. Why? It's like, why are you acting like, because that's my child. You don't know him long. You ain't known him long. I don't need to know your child long enough. If I feel like he's disrespectful, I'm going to reprimand his ass. So if you bring him around me and he's disrespectful, I'm going to let him know about himself. And you should allow me to do that because I'm a man and I care. You know what I'm saying? Not because I'm trying to manipulate your son or get your son to sell drugs or play around in the street. I'm trying to tell him right from wrong. Have some respect. Don't talk to people like that. You feel me? And if I'm talking to your son like that, then you need to take heed and learn and allow your son to be talked to like that, because if he don't, somebody gonna put something up in him. And I ain't talking about nothing like no flowers or nothing. I'm talking about like they can do something to him. So talking to your son, allowing me to talk to your son, allowing any of the men in the community that are intentional,
right? Trustworthy,
that are intentional, right, to talk to your son, not to beat him up. I'm not trying to beat him up. He's too young for that. But let me listen, son. Don't talk to me like that. I'm a grown man. Have some respect. Your mom didn't teach you about respect. I'm gonna teach you about respect. I'm talking to you right now, and I'm letting you know how not to talk to me. That is respectful. And if you want to get rough and rugged, we can do that. Right.
But see, here's P. You're coming in at the moment where this kid is already being disrespectful, right? How about, see, this is the problem I have with our boys in the community, because there's a lot of programs for mother and daughter, teaching how you do your daughter this or how you teach your daughter that. There is so few far in between mentor programs for young boys. for young boys. I don't need you to come grab my child at 17 right before he goes in jail. How about we start this young?
It's over for him at
Right.
17.
So you're saying that this mom allows this kid to be disrespectful at whatever age that they are now, but what tools were we giving these parents or these moms on how to actually raise a boy? I'm a single mom, right? And let me tell you, I've tried so many times to get positive male figures in my son's life, like over and over again. And what happened is these people are not consistent. That's my mama. That's my mom. She must be here talking about parenting.
Uh-huh.
But the problem is that there's not enough consistent men to actually want to engage in our youth, male youth, to be able to raise them right, to step in, to fill in the gap. Because we know the homes are broken. We know that there's not a lot of men in the homes, right? Or if they are in the homes, we have some men are just in the homes, right? Existing, not actually.
Most of the men are broken.
Right, broken.
Most of the men
so
are.
there loves
Most
the
of the
problem.
men are broken down and don't feel like they can say anything to nobody's child. A lot of people don't want the hassle of arguing with anybody about their child. That's what happens. I don't want to deal with the hassle of telling you that your son could end up in jail, could end up shot, could end up dead, could end up hurting somebody. You feel me? And you get to yelling at me, talking about my son won't never, da, 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 da. And then we fast forward 10 years, and now your son, look, he out there, he upstate.
Right,
and I'm looking at you like, see, I told you,
but
you should have let me.
So when people respond that way, it's because, again, we just said that they're broken, right? So we have broken people trying to raise children. So we're up here fixing these children and sending them back in broken homes.
No, you really need to fix yourself as a parent.
You need to fix the home. We need to fix the home. We need to provide
Absolutely.
resources and tools for the parent to actually get their stuff together so they can parent right.
Lynn Mayfield asks, well, how do you explain bad parents that produce exemplary children? And I could just say the village that's around the child, the aunts, the uncles, the cousins, you feel me? They leached on to somebody, you feel me, who was forcing them to be exemplary.
Let me tell you, I did not grow up in the best situation. Everybody around me, every one of my first cousins was drug dealers.
Right.
Everybody in my family, nobody really, we all lived in the same area doing the same thing, right? I knew something, like, this is why I believe everybody has something inside of them and say what's right and what's wrong. We have an innate feeling, whether we fall into the trap or just doing what our family do, or whether we find something to get out. Like, for example, I knew that I didn't like the environment, right?
How old were you?
When I knew I was like 5 years old when I knew something was off. Yo, I'm telling you, I knew something was off, and everybody kept saying, Donna, you different. Why? Because I was very observant, and I knew something was off. I was like, all right, that shouldn't do that, or you shouldn't. Like, I just knew that something was off. Right. Couldn't do nothing about it. Right. So young, right? But eventually, as I kept growing and I kept looking and seeing different things, I knew that I didn't know what needed to happen, but I knew something needed to happen in me. Right. So what I do, I start going into the books more. I start reading books. Like I use education as a way to get out. I use my education and my love and drive for seeing people hurt, but feel like I needed to be able to help people. So that's so you can have the parents who parent in the worst way, but there's something in that kid, or there's somebody else in a teacher, somebody in the community, somebody that kid's seen growing up and say, you know what, that's different. What can I do? Like maybe a mentor or something. Because I'm telling you, I'm the first one of my mom kids to go to college. Because I saw something different. And because I did that, then my sister went. And then now our children are going because I changed that generational, like, we didn't repeat the same thing that we saw.
Right, you broke the generational curses.
Yeah. So just like there's generational curses, there's generational blessings. You can store up blessings for your family if you keep moving and you keep investing, though. The problem is we don't want to invest in each other. We don't want to invest in each other.
I'm sorry somebody stole the bell that was in here, so whoever you are, wherever you are.
We don't want to invest in each other. Yeah. Like, you can come from the worst situation, or you could come from the best situation. Matter of fact, we had William Loss here, right? Remember, he came here. Both his parents worked hard. Right. His parents moved them out of the hood into a suburban area, right? He ended up connecting with the dude next to him, the white man next to him, started selling drugs. His dad never sold drugs. His mom never sold drugs. They were really raising him up to be a good kid. It wasn't until he moved into the suburbs he actually got connected with someone else.
Yeah, the money.
And then he ended up doing that. Now, he had good parents, right? But he ended up doing something
It might
different
not be-
because we all got a will, though.
He might not have had intentional parents, though.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Now you done brought intentional. Now we're going to talk. Now let's talk about intent. Dad and mom.
I think
they might have been good parents because they moved him into a good neighborhood and a good home.
Right.
But inside the home, you don't know what was going on in there.
Well,
you don't know how he felt.
Right. Well, he said he had a good home, so he said that growing up.
He gonna say that because he don't want to make mom and dad.
Oh no,
mad,
he talked about them before he got in trouble. Right. But what I'm saying is that, so here it is, we talk about being intentional. The reason why I always talk about being intentional, because we talk about kids it's almost like when we talk to our kids, back in the day, parents were talking to the kids as if they had no dignity. They had no rights or anything. And you still think kids don't have no rights?
They don't. Unless they can produce money in the house to pay for what they don't have no rights, bro.
Why wouldn't they? They human.
They are children.
Yes, and you're training them to be adults eventually, right?
So they don't have no rights until they get rights. You are my property. If they get locked up, who the cops calling until they turn 18?
I understand that, and that's the mentality of the problem. They're your property.
They're my property. They are. They're mine. They're my property. You listen to me. What I say goes, and you listen to any other adult that comes up to you and has a mind to understand what you're doing is wrong and telling you you're wrong, right? I mean, you give children too much freedom, and then look at what we got now. We got kids blowing up everywhere.
It's a thin line between giving too much and not giving enough.
No, it's a thin line between giving anything and giving too much. I'm not giving you anything but what I'm supposed to give you. A house, food, shelter, school, security. I'm providing everything. You don't need to go over there for anything.
Okay, so break that down again. You said house, because here's the thing this is the thing that gets me all the time.
Right.
House, food, clothes, security.
Right. A little allowances to hang out with your friends. If you play sports, I'm paying for your school sports. Okay. I'm paying for your school supplies. I'm paying for everything. You don't have to pay for nothing. All I need you to do is go to school, give me A's and B's, and when it's time to go to college and be great at whatever you choose to do. See, once you go to college, now it's on you.
Okay, so
now you're an adult. So you can not go to class, you can play around, you can do whatever you want to do. That's your time. You're wasting that.
Hey, I want to go back to the things that you think is being a good parent, being a parent.
Right.
House, food, shelter, clothes, and security.
Yeah.
This is the 4 things that's always talked about. I put a roof over your head, food in your mouth, clothes on your back, and you secure, you safe, right?
Absolutely.
But that is not it.
Okay.
The problem is we ignore children's emotional needs. I know you was going to put your head down. Kids' emotional needs.
What emotional needs does a child have? Tell me. Explain it to me.
Oh, my pig. We got peer pressure. We got... Kids aren't little robots. They are humans. They are. They are not robots.
Everything that they're doing is a copy off of someone else. Everything that they're learning is a copy off of you. If you're teaching your kid right, you're teaching them how to talk correctly, they'll talk to you correctly. If you say, nah, bitch, I don't get fucked down, their kid gonna talk just like that. So that's absolutely a robot to me. Yeah. That's somebody copying somebody else. Children are a mini version of you. So if you're disrespectful, your child is going to be disrespectful.
I believe
if you're highly agitated,
will come out
if you're easily angered, your child is going to be easily angered. You feel me? It's not hard to say your child is a representation of you.
Right. So let's go back to this fear in parenting. You do this like the way that we talk to our kids and what we say to our kids. You're expected to do this as if they don't have an opinion or even a thought behind it. You're expected to do this.
Yes. Get it done. There's too much freedom. There's way too much freedom nowadays, and we're talking about things are changing. You got to respect the kids. That's why we got a whole bunch of kids thinking they can tell an adult what to do.
It's the proper way to do it.
I got a whole bunch of kids yelling at me and telling me they know what they're doing. You let them go ahead and do it, then it fell, and they looking at you like, I didn't know it was that hard.
80% of the kids that are disrespectful are disrespectful for their parents because their parents are disrespectful to them.
Oh my God.
When you think about it, it's seriously, if you're disrespectful to your child, if you're talking to your child like they're a piece of trash, a piece of dirt, again, as if they're your slave and you're just dictating to them, and as if they not a human.
Do as I tell you to do. I'm not treating them like they're not human. Again,
you may not be, but a lot of parents have that mentality.
And for those parents that are treating their children like you're not human, you're going to get what a law decrees for you to get. right? There's nothing I can do to change that. But I can talk about me. I'm not being mean to my child by beating my child. Everybody say, no, you got to talk to your kids. You got to be nicer to your kids. No, some of these kids need to be beat. I needed a beating. This one.
I believe because you still need a beating now.
Maybe two.
Shoot.
You feel me? No, I'm passionate about that, bro. If it wasn't for me being able to, I was locked up in the jail cell, and I was looking out the window, and I seen some people that I knew, and all I heard was, didn't I tell you? I said, what'd you say, Sully? He said, I ain't say nothing. I said, oh. I said, Sully, stop playing with me. You didn't just say, didn't I tell you? He's like, no. He's like, why would I say, didn't I tell you? I ain't never seen you before. Didn't I tell you? I said, oh shit, that's my dad. I laid on the top mattress. I ain't go outside the yard. I sat in that bed and I cried, bro, the whole time yard was out. Because my father told me, looking outside, I was 8 years old, you go outside with them 3 little boys, you're going to end up upstate just like them. Those 3 little boys was upstate with me. So because I did not listen, because I didn't want to hear it, because I wanted to go out there and experience life, I found out the hard way. So because my mother was intentional in understanding and, oh, it's okay, he's just going through a
Stop making
phase.
it seem like being
That's what
intentional,
you
you being a
said.
punk. That is not it, P. Being intentional is not a punk.
Well, she wasn't no fighter. She ain't bust she beat me one time. I remember
P,
she
your
chased me
issue
around.
is that your dad passed away and you just went buck wild. Point blank period.
No, my issue is there was no one there to stop me. You have to stop
Right.
the child.
Yeah, I
Stop
agree
just
that,
going
yeah.
How can a child go buck wild if he's 12, 13 years old? There's a man there, full grown. Stop. And if you can't stop me like that, punch me in the chest. Yo, chill. Go in the house, bro. If you're not gonna man the fuck up and stop a young man, you're gonna get ran the fuck over. And now you mad because you got a whole bunch of men over here running men over. You saying the men ain't here. Well, they can't because the women saying you can't beat the child. Don't beat the child.
Nobody's
Talk to
saying
him.
not to beat the child. See, here's the problem.
Talk to this future drug dealer. and
Here's the thing. You keep
future
saying
murderer.
you
Talk
are
to
so
him. Just
crazy.
talk to him and get his feelings. He has feelings. No, the fuck he don't.
Yes, he does.
I'm a woman's ass.
No. See, the thing.
Let him express and tell you how much he doesn't like the way you talk to him, huh? What? He's a child. He's not supposed to like. I didn't like the way my dad talked to me.
Nobody said they gotta like it, P, but just treating them as a human. That's all I'm saying. And secondly, you done messed me up here.
I know I did.
Because I think that people don't understand there's a difference between disciplining your child and abuse and all that, right?
Absolutely.
And that's the thing.
Coming home and putting cigarettes out on your kid is abuse.
Yeah.
Coming home and beating their ass because they changed their report card or they got disrespectful with their uncle or they lied to their grandma, and that is not abuse. That's not abuse. I'm beating you for a reason. Don't do that again because it's going to be worse consequences. If my mom used to say, if you lie, you steal.
If you steal, you cheat.
Kill.
Yeah, I say you cheat, you steal, you kill. It's a whole trifle.
You steal, you'll kill. I lied, then I stole, but I wasn't killing nobody. I wasn't going up. That's one thing I knew. I ain't going upstate for the rest of my life. I can go up there for a little bit. And I'll never go back again. But I ain't going up there for the rest of my life. I don't care what you do. You can steal from me. You can beat me up. You can, aside from harming my mother, my grandmother, my cousins, and my sister, aside from that, I'm not killing nobody over nothing. I can get it again. If you take a female from me, I can get a new one. You take money from me, I can go get some more. You feel me? Like, I'm not, no, that was the one thing I understood. I ain't going up there for no longer than 5 years. That's the most I got in me. Literally.
I think
that's what we had to accept.
Yeah.
We had no other choice.
I think what happens is that, again, when we talk about people are parenting out of fear or parenting how the way they were parenting, and that's where the line comes between, are we disciplining? Because what discipline is supposed to teach, it is not necessarily just supposed to punish. Whenever we do something to our, like try to correct them, right? We're trying to correct them, we're trying to teach you. We're not saying, for example.
How do you correct without the, like they say, spare the rod, spoil the child. How do you correct without the rod? Without the threat of the rod, what is on the other side? If you don't listen to me, I'm going to keep talking to you.
I think everybody's different, Pete. I think every kid is different and every...
Bam! If you don't listen to me, you won't get a whole lot more of that. Yes,
and then wonder why they can't listen no more because you done knocked their brain cells out the head.
You can't knock nobody's brain
yes,
cells
you
out
can
their
shift
head.
the brain. What is wrong with you? Is there such thing as shaking baby syndrome? You knocking these kids upside the head.
Ain't no shaking teenager syndrome.
Yes, it
No, it's not. That's a little baby.
You get a concussion when you play football. You knocked on the street and some of your
hard to
brain.
give you a concussion.
Okay, some people.
You know how hard it got to get hit to get a concussion? You got to get hit pretty hard.
Yeah, some people throw the kids against the wall.
I'm just smacking you upside down. Stop playing with me, bro. Come here. Don't do that.
So what happens is when you discipline.
Stop hitting your sister. Don't hit your sister. Implement that on your kid, on your son early, to put your hands on him if he hit his sister. Do not ever hit a female. I did that to my son so many times, bro. He will not touch a female aggressively. Be like, I don't know. Female be like, yeah, nah. He be like, I don't know. But you got kids out here, oh, if she hit you, hit her back. What? Bow! Hit her with a bud uppercut.
So you think because the way that you did to your son, that's why he won't hit a female?
I know that's why he won't hit a female.
And see, I'm the opposite. My son didn't have to be that way to understand he won't hit a female, though. Like, I didn't have to be physical with him to show him, or his dad didn't have to be physical with him to show him not to do that to a female. When he was younger, the girls, the one that tests my end against her all the time, they the same age, and she slapped him with a rope across his face. And I was like, well, that's your sister. You know, you don't do that. But I did tell her that not everybody gonna be that way. This your brother, he ain't gonna hit you, but you can't go around hitting men, boys. And she was very young. She was only like 7, but you can't go around hitting people and not expect to get hit back.
Yeah, I would have hit her. Her mom would have beat her. Yo, you gotta beat her. You have to. I'm not the type of man that wants to beat my daughter. Right? Because I don't want my daughters growing up thinking that a man is supposed to put hands on them for them to behave correctly. So that's not my job. That's the mom's job. But for my son, I put hands on him all the time. He asked Miss Mayfield, she met him. She's like,
I'm looking at some of the comments. She said, so Miss Mayfield said, I'm going to beat your blank out of love.
The cops and the people in the street going to beat you out of hate.
Yeah. I understand that. I have a friend who she popped her son, and she ended up getting in trouble for it. Like, the boy was disrespectful, though. He was about 12 or 13. He was very disrespectful to the camp counselors, disrespectful. So she came up there because this is how she learned how to parent. She came up there, and there's cameras everywhere, right? And he started popping off about, yeah, and she punched him in the mouth, right? So blood came everywhere, right? So then she got in trouble, where she had the son was taken away from her for abuse, right? And she went to court and she said, listen, it's either I handle him or you're gonna have to handle him.
That's what they want. That's what they want. That's why they say you can't beat
like,
your kids.
Either I discipline him or you're gonna have to. Now
they took all the fail safes for children to behave right out of the way. We need these kids to act like this. The most money we can make is off people going to jail. The most money we can make is off this system, this little community right here producing more inmates than doctors and lawyers. Our community, our black community, producing more out of the ordinary people that think they can be great by breaking the law than people that understand law is like king. You gotta follow.
But it's a lack of parenting, though. The reason why the community is this way is a lack of parenting.
They took the beating out. You can't beat your child.
It ain't necessary just to beat. It's OP.
And then they gave the kids, like, you can go. The kid can go into school and say, my mom beat me, and the person that has to report it. Right. They report it to CYS. CYS come to the house. See that you feed your kids. No discipline, no nothing. Oh, we're going to take the child away from you because you're abusing your child.
That's not how it works. I'm a CASA. I'm a court-appointed special advocate kids in foster care. That's not how it works all the time. So there's a process. It's not. You're saying all that, but that's not.
That's not how it works at all.
No, but you're saying
all the time.
This is what you're saying, though. You're saying this is what happened. The kids go there, then they get snapped. The state. You're saying that the reason why our kids behave this way is because of the country we live in, the community we live in, and the people that we live in it. No, it's a parental issue. It is a parenting issue, point blank period. If you're raising your kids right at home, we don't have to worry about what the world is doing because we're putting it in. Most of the time, we're sending our kids outside butt naked. We're not closing them with nothing. We're not closing them with respect because we're not respecting them and they're not respecting us.
Oh, so I just said all this and you said I was wrong, but now you're saying it because I talked about CYS coming in and taking your kids, and she said, I work for CASA. God damn it, you ain't gonna be talking about where I work at. I'm all about the kids.
I'm not working. I'm a volunteer because what I do is I'm an advocate for kids I'm an advocate for kids who are in foster care, who are really being abused and physically abused and raped and all that other stuff. Right. And then I'm a pediatric nurse, so I've had it all ways. I'm a parenting coach. I see all aspects of it. It is not all just the same way. There's different situations and circumstances why things happen.
So all of these things, like I said,
it's a parenting issue.
All of these
I don't
things,
care how you slice it.
All of these things were put into play, right? They weren't put into play by us, the parents. They were put into play by the government, right? And the government understood. We're gonna throw drugs in their community, turn their mothers and fathers into junkies and addicts and all this other stuff. Then we're gonna go in there and tell them you can't discipline your child. Not only are we gonna do that, we're gonna go into the school. We're gonna remove prayer. So now prayer is not even covering their kids. You know what I'm saying? Then we're gonna remove. You ain't even gotta say the Pledge of Allegiance no more. You ain't gotta do none of that no more. Then we're gonna go in there and say you have emotions, child, who is 9 or 10 years old, and you can be whatever you want to be. Do you feel like you're a boy or a girl? What do you want to do? Do you want to play? Do you want to play? No, that's the same story. It's just been elevated. It's been elevated because you take out of the parents' hands. Now the kids are in school more than they're home, right? Because the parents have to work. How you gonna send your kid to school if you ain't working? How you gonna dress your kid? How you gonna pay your rent? Right. Cost of living is shooting up every day. Quick.
Right.
You feel me?
But you go back to what you said. You said they put the drugs. Go ahead. Go back to say that whole thing over again.
They put the drugs in the community to take away the mother and father. Now the mother and father are not there for one generation. Mom and dad aren't there. So the kids grow up understanding what they need to do. So the next generation, the kids they're working. They have kids, right? But they're so debilitated because they might have been crack babies. They could have been born under the influence. Right. So now they're debilitated. Now they feel some type of way and they smoking. They have addiction on them. They smoking. They popping perks and Xanax. Then they have a kid. Now this is 3 generations of kids with drugs all up and through them. Now those kids go to school. I ain't listening to you. Don't be talking to me like that. Now I got to get you an IEP. You got to walk to school with a dog. I got to get you a dog to walk through. You need you get the. I got an IEP. I need a midget clown to walk with me to class. I need to laugh all day. So I need somebody to make me laugh. I need to be able to walk out of class whenever I want to raise my hand and just walk out of class and go hang out.
Well, you just said they crack baby or the parents are on drugs, so it's a whole.
I'm not saying crack babies. I don't like that phrase.
Well, you're just saying that they not just crack. They can be heroin. They can be fentanyl babies. They are babies that have drugs in us.
They have addiction right on their forefront. Addiction and being a person addicted, it's hard to get over that, right? It's hard to push through that. You feel me? You come up with a lot of emotional barriers and things, and then they give you ADHD pills. And now your kids like to pop pills. You feel me? And
they can't give it to you and let the parent let them. See, here's the thing, Pete. It sounds like
all the parents don't know.
Right.
All the parents don't know. All the parents. If I could tell you a story, bro, you'd be like, damn. But all the parents do not know.
They do not know that their children get medicine.
They do not know that every child learns differently. Every child is not going to be a straight A student.
Right, because we're not giving the parents the tools to get and to understand. You just named all these reasons why our children are a particular way, and all of it it's a parenting issue. No matter if the person if they brought the drugs in the community, the parent took the drugs, right? So it's still a parental issue, no matter who to blame for the parental issue is, right?
Let's check this out. Ms. Mayfield just said, "I'm sorry, those ass whoopings kept me from a lot of trouble I could have gotten into." What generation was the greatest generation of black people?
I'm born in 1980. I can't speak of no other generation but after 80 and after.
You can't speak to the generation before you? Because if they didn't do what they did, you wouldn't have been born. So you can't say the generation before you wasn't great?
I'm not necessarily, because here it is, I think every generation has the potential of being great, right? I can't speak for what happened to my parents and their parents and their parents and their parents, right? I can only speak by what I'm
going. So you can compare the generations and the generations that wanted more. What generation was the hungriest? Like as a whole, not just 30% of it was the hungriest.
I don't know.
2 generations before you, right?
Because
that's when things were built. That's when things were real. That's when the community was here. Think about the community. It was a village. We were still a village. We were still building. We was helping each other. We was working with each other. We was creating.
Yeah, because I remember my neighbor, Miss Betty, she was allowed to beat me or anything. I remember that.
So that's when anybody could do. We were a block. We were a family. We ate together. If you didn't have electricity, man, you could send the extension cord down to my house and get electricity. If you didn't have water, you could send your kids down there and I would give you water.
So what happened?
Crack. Crack brought that distrust to everybody. Now you're looking at everybody with a side eye. Everybody that come and knock on you, what she want? Don't let her in here. Everything. You looking at everybody like they crazy. What she? Oh no, well, I'm not fooling with you. You're not letting nobody get closer to your kids. Don't touch my kid. Now you touching my kid? No, don't beat my kid. Don't talk to my kid. Don't help my kid. I'm just helping him. Lady, get away from my kid.
You know why that happened, OP? Because a lot of times when we think about the generations before us and the generations before, kids were, again, seen and not heard. Kids were getting raped and molested by family members and stayed in the house. So then people start distrusting other people with their kids, even their family members with their kids. There was a whole time where family, grandfathers, uncles, parents, like, were raping these kids, molesting these kids, kids having kids by their own dad. There was so much stuff going on.
Ain't that stuff still happening today?
Not
as
bad as it was though.
No, let's just say it's
because
not
it's opening out though.
We just saw the whole situation break down with the baseball coach in Chester, right?
Yes.
So don't say it ain't still happening today. Like people are a fool gonna be a fool every day of the week in every generation.
Yeah.
A dummy gonna be a dummy.
Right.
A rapist gonna be a rapist.
Yeah.
You don't find out that a motherfucker's like that until it comes out.
Yeah.
So if it's hidden well, if you're able to doctor it up and dress it up,
right.
you won't never know that old coach, Reverend, whoever his name is playing with the little boys. Right? Or that Mrs. whatever is playing with the little boys, playing with the little girls. You'll never know until it comes out. Right? So we can't sit there and say generations. No, every generation has its own demons and its own.
I agree with that. Every generation.
But we allowed them to come into our community. This is why the Black Panther Party was so important in the 60s, bro. Because they were teaching us what we needed to. They killed them, bro, and they put them in jail. They killed all of our leaders. Look at all our leaders.
All right, so we got all this, right? You just broke down all this stuff.
Right.
So what's the answer? How do we fix it?
Come together.
Because we can't keep blaming generation
We
because we're here.
Come together with love, bro. Come together and build with your people. Come together and build with your people. Come together and build with your people. Simple as that, bro. That's the only way we can fix it. We can't fix it by blaming. I'm not blaming anybody. I understand.
I mean, you're kicking real facts about what happened, but I'm just trying to, like, how long we're gonna keep blaming
I'm not
A,
blaming
B,
no,
and C.
I'm just saying that's
where do we take accountability for ourselves? Again, in parenting, because it's a parenting show. Where do the parents take accountability to say, okay, not on my watch, or even that family member, if that's not on my watch, my kid is not going to be able to do this, or not on my watch, this and that and the other. Your parents have to stand up.
But you have to strike fear into your children. Your kids should be scared of you. A healthy fear will stop your kid from doing crazy things, bro.
I think it's just more reverence, not necessary fear.
It's
just
more
reverence.
Reverence?
I respect you. I respect what you have to say. I respect you. I haven't had to lay one hand on my children. And let me tell you, I have 4 children, right?
Yeah.
My first daughter, she's 24 now. I had her at 19. I spanked her one time because I told her 3 times not to write on the bathroom. She was probably about 5. Told her 3 times not to write on the bathroom wall. She went there and wrote on the bathroom wall. Mm-hmm. So I spanked her because that's what I knew to do.
Ooh,
right?
You spanked her?
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay.
Most people don't know. I did. I spanked her.
That was before or after you became an intentional
Be quiet.
parent?
I spanked her.
Intentionally?
And so this is what I did. I spanked her, and then I took all her books away from her because I knew that she loved books, right? That girl cried so much more from the books getting taken away from her than I spanked her.
Absolutely.
Right? So I knew how to get to her. Okay, you don't do this. This is what's going to happen, right? Never had to touch her again. Never had to take her books away from her again, right? And then the next 3 came around, right? So then my son and then my girls, my sister and her husband passed away.
Right.
So these are 2 girls whose parents are deceased, right? Who already pretty much almost quote unquote have a bullet out for them, right? Because they already growing up without their biological parents anymore that they was raised with, right?
Absolutely.
So statistics show that these kids will be on drugs. They will be out doing crime. Like they wouldn't even live past the age of their parents died. That's the statistics, right?
It is.
But because how I was intentionally parenting them, yes, intentional, making sure that their emotional needs were met, their physical needs were met, that their food and their shelter, not just, do as I say because I said it. No, have a conversation. This is why, this is not just the right decision, it's the best decision for your life. So teaching them that way. So I haven't had to lay my hands on that kid. Now, some kids need hands laid on.
Absolutely. Me and my
Especially
son,
when it comes to like your life. Like, for example, when you're raising up a kid and you're telling them not to do this, not to do that, but then when they put that something into that outlet, oh yeah, because now you're messing with your life. If you're running if I taught you don't run in the street and you're running in the middle of the street, you can
get hit by a car.
killed. Yeah, so I'm gonna discipline you. So there's certain.
The car gonna discipline you better than I can. I learned my lesson.
I'm gonna teach you because now you're putting your life in jeopardy.
Hey, well, hopefully they survive.
Yeah.
I got hit by a car.
But I'm saying,
Learned my lesson real quick.
But I'm saying,
after that, I stopped at every corner.
But I'm saying, like, when stuff is dangerous and it's life threatening,
Absolutely.
there's reasons to put your hand on your child. Because listen, I'm gonna have to show you what I mean.
Nothing can teach him more than that life-threatening situation. If my son is sitting there by the socket with a fork, I'ma watch him. Yeah, see, don't do that shit. If he over there by the stove and he about to touch it, I'ma watch him. Stop. Because that pain will teach him to leave it. Me telling you, leave it alone, son. Don't touch it, son. Leave it alone, son. Leave it alone, son. Leave it alone, son. Leave it alone, son. Fucking go ahead. Yeah, it's hot, ain't it? Are you okay? Get the aloe, put the aloe on it. You feel me? And we good. But
so you not gonna grab his hand so he don't touch it?
No.
This is why.
If you agree with me, put a black fist in the air. Like literally, like it's about.
See that's when I'm gonna have to tear you up because I'm telling you this is gonna hurt you. So let me show you.
That's a waste of energy.
That's a waste. So just let him burn his hand. Have a third-degree burn. End up at the burn center.
Hopefully it's a quick touch, and he ain't grabbing nothing.
Hopefully, but it may not.
But if he do grab it, he grabbed it. That's what he chose
but
to do.
Here it is.
But guess what? CYS will come in and remove your child because your child is burnt.
Well, you're standing there letting him put his hand on the stove, P.
I done told him 10 times it was hot.
That's neglect.
It's not neglect.
That is neglect.
It is not neglect.
You're watching him put his hand on the stove.
I wasn't watching it.
That's like, oh, now you won't watching him.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I was in the room watching TV.
That's like somebody putting drugs in front of your kid face and you telling your kids not to do it. And then the drugs is here and they still about to go try. You like, go ahead, try and see what happens.
If I was still smoking weed, I would definitely smoke with my kids. And you want to know why? Because there's something about people that nowadays people smoke with people to get them in a vulnerable situation. You feel me? I'm gonna keep it all the way funky with you. My sister, I learned to smoke weed when I was in the 8th grade. Smoked a joint with me. I was done. I did the same thing for my sister. Why? Because I knew the type of men that were around me at the time. Smoke with her. She will smoke you out. You hear me? The young boys come over, they trying to smoke with my sister. My sister blowing it down. They like, damn, she ain't high yet? Like, what the hell's going on? She leave out they in their sleep. They done tried to smoke her down. Like, so you have to prepare kids. If you're gonna be out here in this life, and my uncle told me, if you're gonna be out here in this life, there's a couple things you gotta remember. People grow up different than you, so they're looking for different ways to get over on you. So your eyes, you have to be aware of every move. You feel me? And if you're not aware of every move, remove yourself.
Right.
You feel me?
I don't have to touch something to know that it's bad. I don't want my kids to have to touch something to experience that, to know that it's bad. If I'm teaching you and showing you.
What is the best teacher? What is the best teacher?
That's what y'all say.
No, what is said?
Experience is a good teacher. It is. However, I can see a drug addict. I can see somebody and I can see how it responds to them before and don't have to do it. What is that?
What is that, the last one? Mothers teach by what?
Mother and fathers teach by example.
No. It said
mothers
right.
intervene.
Yep.
Fathers teach by example.
I'm a father. I'm gonna teach you by example. That's the best way I know you can learn, and you're not gonna like it. You're gonna learn. Mom's gonna stop it. Mom's a nurturer. Dad is a protector. I'm gonna tell you not to do it, but guess what, son? If you want to do it, it's gonna hurt.
Listen.
My first
experience
tattoo.
is a good teacher, but I don't need to experience drugs to know that they're bad for me.
Shit, they gonna figure it out.
Because what happens is you're experiencing them, and then you become addicted to them, and then it's a done deal.
You not only experienced it, you lived through it, so you know not to touch it. You know to stay away from it. You feel
If
me?
it don't kill you.
It doesn't. The drugs that we was doing didn't kill us.
Back in the day, no, this stuff right here, like,
This is
I know
different.
crack addicts for 40, 50 years to come wash
smoke.
your car, clean your house and all that. Now they got the fentanyl and stuff out, and they drop it dead.
But it's not us, though.
Right.
It's not all us. It's a couple
Right.
of us, but it's
Right.
majority. That's what they did. They said, "Oh yeah, we gonna get them with these pills. They gonna fuck with these pills." It's like, no, nigga, we smoke crack. you can't smoke no Percocet. You feel me? Like, you already got us. We hooked on crack. We don't want that Percocet stuff. You feel me? And it had to go to the next people that wanted it. And they wanted to, and they pop them joints. They take the fentanyl. But it's like,
I think what we need, we really do. I like the fact that you said that what we need is love and care for one another.
Absolutely.
To come together.
Absolutely.
And providing, instead of building more prisons, give more centers, community centers, and tools for our parents, parenting classes and things like that.
There's no reason why, and I'm giving it the Croc Center, right? Salvation Army. There's no reason why y'all don't have a Croc Center in the center of Chester, Pennsylvania. Y'all got Croc Centers in Arizona. Y'all got Croc Centers in California. Y'all got Croc Centers everywhere. Salvation Army. That thing that y'all got over town, that's old. That's from the 40s,
I remember,
30s.
yeah, when I was little.
You feel me? Like that thing, right? Like, so it doesn't work for us anymore. So we need a center that has a pool in it. I mean, an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Has at least 16 basketball courts, has an upstairs track that people can run around while the kids are playing. This is what I saw when I was in Arizona, and I was like, wow, this joint is crazy.
That's why
and it's a homeless shelter at the same time. But why isn't that here? And why is it out in Arizona where they don't even really celebrate Martin Luther King Day? Why is it not here when we show you that we need it? We need a place where we can have meetings. We need a place where we can bring families together. We need a place where we can have family reunions or after or a repast or whatever. We need that place. We need a Y. Why? We got 3 Y buildings that were once in the city of Chester, and none of them are operational. Who was in charge of the Y?
Right.
And where did the money go?
Yeah.
You discontinued the Y so you can invest more in sending people to jail?
Right.
So you can invest more in the police? So you can invest more in the cars and trucks and the stuff that they got? That's crazy. I think about that every day.
I agree that.
I want to hit the Powerball, the Mega Million. Is it still $1 billion? Does somebody else hit it? I want to hit that joint so I can build that for the community. I don't need a whole lot of money. I want the community to have everything.
I think it's definitely a lack of investing in the right things, because I grew up in Chester, but then I also live in Delaware. I live in Middletown, Delaware. The things that you're saying, we have. My kids have that. But why do we have to move out of the city to have that?
Because out of the city is where they're worried about the young kids and making sure they have everything that they need to be successful young people.
Right.
We ain't too much worried about the people that grow up here. We ain't too much worried about the black people, the black skin, and the white skin, and the Puerto Rican skin, and the Spanish skin, the brown. Anybody that grows up in the city of Chester is doomed, and that's how they feel. Oh man, don't worry about Chester. It's no big deal. That's why I give a major shout out to Jack Stalsheimer and his office for coming up with Chester Partnership for Safe Neighborhoods, trying to find a way to give back to our community, right?
Yeah.
But we need to do more.
Yeah.
Like I need the Croc Center to come through here and build a Y or a Salvation Army suitable for our children. Olympic-sized swimming pool, so everybody wants to come. It don't matter if you're from the east side or the west side. Everybody, we need something on the east side. We need something on the west side. It was a time when I walked from 21st Street to Jeffrey Street and walked through everybody's hood, bro, and had a homie and people that didn't like me in everybody's hood.
Yeah.
And had no problem walking back from Jeffrey Street to 21st Street without no incidents.
All that changed. I feel like that changed when I was in high school. I remember where everybody was together, and then all of a sudden it was the McCaff against this person. And even though everybody had their own project, but nobody was fighting against each other. And then now,
lack of resources. Lack of resources will have lack of food in your house will have me and you fighting, and we brother and sister.
That's true.
So why wouldn't lack of resources have us fighting each other?
Yeah.
Cousins shooting at each other.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah. People misuse the funds though, so that's what happened. Every city, every state, every city get funds, right? And people misuse those funds, and they don't invest properly into the city that they're supposed to invest in. And you know what happens? there's not enough people to speak out about it though.
Well, I'm here. You're here.
Yeah, we hear it,
And if
we
you
gotta
wanna
keep
have
speaking.
Go ahead.
We gotta keep speaking out about it though. We
Absolutely.
gotta come together and speak it out. Like, I think that's the only way. Like, people talk about marching. I really think that marching and stuff really does help. But
does.
I think coming together, when they see people coming together, they have to do something.
They're scared. That's scary. If
Yeah.
you're in the office sitting up there and you making decisions and you see 250,000 black people coming down the street angry, you're gonna be like, oh shit, we gotta change.
Something gonna happen.
Because if we are these all from this area? I was talking. Are these all from Chester? They're all from Chester, and you got people in Delaware County. Oh no, I'm gonna lose seat. I'm gonna lose my seat. Like, if you don't go to the people that are in power in Delaware County and the people that are in power wherever and say we need change. State senator, we need this.
Yeah.
Congresswoman, we need this. City council, we need this. County council, we need this. And if we don't have it where it's all working at the same time for us, for the benefit of us,
Right.
it's never going to work for us. And it's power. It's power. We talked about that down at the Circle event on Saturday. It's power in voting. And people whispered in our ear a long time ago, oh, your vote don't matter. Your vote don't count.
Right.
It don't matter. You can't get anything done. Man, you see what they get done for their people? You see what Brookhaven got?
Yeah.
It was a time where all that new shopping center was a field, bro.
I remember, yeah.
A baseball field, bro. That was it. And the Giant was over there and the Pathmark was over there. All that stuff should have been in Chester, bro.
Right.
All that stuff should have been in Chester, right where that vacant Ford Field is right there, where they got all them trucks parked at. They come here, they park their stuff here, they let their trucks pour out oil and gas.
When we come together, when people see that we actually care and we come together for our own, then they will start really investing in us. Because if I don't feel like you care about where you live at or what's going on, I'm gonna poop on you all day. But if I see that you want better, do better, and y'all come together as a unit, then I'm gonna be like, okay, these people serious about change. So until we come together, change is not gonna happen.
We got to do more than come together. We got to appreciate each other.
Yeah, well, love.
And we got to stop. We got to stop stepping on each other's toes, bro.
Help
like
one
one
another.
person doing it. Nobody said you can't join them and do it, right? Why would you start something else and do it over there? You draw the
Teamwork,
attention
yeah.
over there. Teamwork make the dream work.
Yeah, bring it together.
I don't have to be Michael Jordan. I ain't gotta be Magic Johnson. I
Be
can
Scottie
be.
Pippen.
I could be Scottie Pippen. I can
Steve
be.
Kerr.
I could be Steve Kerr. I could be Bill Livingston.
Rodman.
I could be Dennis Rodman. I could be the seventh man off the bench, whoever he was.
Yeah.
What was the black boy name that played for the Bulls with the big head and the big nose, with the bald head? I could be him.
Oh, as long as you're on the team to help.
Huh? No, not Robin, the other dude.
All right, we about to wrap this up, P, because
done?
I'm done.
I'm gonna keep on going after you leave.
No,
man.
because then I'm gonna bring somebody else on here about this parenting style
Yeah, you
situation.
definitely got to do that.
I think that's a hot topic. I think
It
we
is.
really got to still talk about it because, and the whole thing is that so we can help empower parents. Like, try to figure out what's going on so that we can give you the tools to be able to do it right, to be able to do it consistent. Because at the end of the day, our kids matter.
Yep.
Parents matter. And our children matter, and everybody's necessary. So we're better together. If we come together, we can make change. All right. Thank everybody for joining Parenting with a Purpose. Thank you, P, for joining the great debater. Tune in every week for Parenting with a Purpose, where we strive to aim for bring back the responsibility, nobility, and beauty back into parenting. Thanks, you guys, for joining us. We will see you next week.
CMP